What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and I'm back with another guide. This time I'll be telling you guys how I play Rek'sai jungle. If you find this guide helpful in any way, please do remember to click that like button, as this will help me get this guide out there to more people. Also, if anything changes, there will be an update in the description. The following subjects will be mentioned in this guide: champion description, abilities, leveling order, runes, masteries, the item build, and the jungle strategy. If you want to go to a specific subject, you can click on it right now. Champion description. Rek'sai is a very versatile champion. She can be a massive tank or a massive damage dealer whilst remaining tanky. Rek'Sai's jungle clear speed is insanely fast, and her ganks are also very strong. And because of this, she's very strong the entire game through. You can really make use of the tunnels and her ultimate to farm and counter gank. This is why I always try to make sure to have a couple tunnels set up for this. The only problem she has is that it's hard for her to stick onto very mobile targets. This is because she only has a knock-up after this. She doesn't have much to stick with them. But this can be solved by building her a certain way. If you like a champion that can be a massive tank or a massive damage dealer with great ganks and great farming speed and roaming potential, Rek'sai is definitely the champion for you. Yes, I do know that's pretty much everything in the game, but Rek'sai is just good for all of it. Rek'Sai's abilities. Her passive, Fury of Zerzai. When she remains burrowed, she depletes 20% of her fury every second to restore some health. The health restored is based on the amount of fury spent, maxing you at 25 times Rek'Sai's level in health over 5 seconds when you burrow with 100 fury. Once Rek'Sai is full health, her fury bar will stop depleting. Her first ability, Queen's Wrath and Prey Seeker. When unburrowed, you have access to Queen's Wrath, making her next 3 basic attacks within 5 seconds deal bonus physical damage to her targets and all surrounding enemies. When burrowed, you will have access to Prey Seeker. This enables you to fire a long-range skill shot which detonates on the first enemy struck, dealing magic damage and revealing all non-stealth enemies for 2.5 seconds. This ability is Rek'Sai's main source of damage and is the reason she farms her jungle so quickly. The way you want to use the skill is walk up to an enemy in burrowed mode, then Q quickly, hit W after that, and then start bashing them with your Queen's Wrath. Her second ability, Burrow and Unburrow. When you are unburrowed, you will have access to Burrow. Rek'Sai will burrow into the ground, reducing her side radius to 250 and disabling her basic attacks. But she gains some flat movement speed, the ability to ignore unit collision, and Tremor Sense. Tremor Sense will show you where moving enemies are in a fog of war, but this doesn't grant sight. When you are burrowed, you will have access to Unburrow. Rek'Sai will burst out of the ground, dealing physical damage and knocking up surrounding enemies for 1 second. Enemies cannot be affected by Unburrow again for a few seconds. Use this skill to get around the map faster and to spot enemies close to you when you're invading or getting invaded. This skill is also what makes Rek'Sai's ganks really strong, because generally a 1 second knock-up will be enough to kill the target or force their flash. Quick FYI, always try to use Unburrow manually, since there will be no delay, so you will start auto-attacking right away. Her third ability, Furious Bite and Tunnel. When unburrowed, you will have access to Furious Bite. Rek'Sai bites the target, dealing physical damage that increases with the amount of fury you have. If you have a full fury bar, this skill will deal true damage. When burrowed, you will have access to Tunnel. Rek'Sai digs in the direction of the cursor, leaving behind 2 connecting tunnel entrances. You can interact with either of these 2 entrances to traverse to the tunnel. Traversing through the same tunnel has a few seconds cooldown. This is shown by the bar above the tunnel. The tunnel part of the skill is very useful, and I have some places on the map where I would always like to have a tunnel if possible. Furious Bite is pretty much only used as an execute. The only thing you want to keep in mind with this skill is that you want to hang on to it until you have a full fury bar, to get the maximum potential out of it. Her fourth ability, Void Rush. Rek'Sai passively gains bonus attack speed scaling with the level of the skill, 20%, 40%, 60%. The active, Rek'Sai targets one of her tunnel entrances and begins channeling for 1.5 seconds. This can be interrupted by simply taking damage from champions or turrets. If the channel is successfully completed, Rek'Sai will burrow into the ground and rapidly dash to the targeted tunnel. This effect can be used in combination with home guards to get a fast catch and or a gank off. Also, don't be afraid to use this skill to get back to your jungle fast to farm. Only do this if there is an objective that you will need your ultimate for. Leveling these abilities. I take Q on level 1 since this is your best source of damage. Then I'll take W on level 2 so you can make use of the heals from your passive, as well as getting more damage from both your Qs and the knock-up. Then on level 3, I take a second point into my Q generally because I want to clear my jungle faster, but you can also take a second point into your E to get through your jungle faster, like quite literally. Also, getting that point into your E will help you gank quite early on, so it can be very useful in that sense. As far as maxing goes, you want to max your Q first for the most damage output, then you want to max your E second for a lower cooldown on your tunnels, as well as more damage to execute someone with after your Qs and auto attacks, and you max your W last, since you only need 1 point into it for it to be useful. And of course you level your R whenever possible. The runes. I take 9 flat 80 marks, 9 flat armor seals, 9 scaling MR blues and 3 flat 80 quints. I take the flat AD because this offers you the best clear speed combined with the damage when you're ganking. I take the flat armor to survive the jungle early, but you can also take scaling armor if this is what you prefer. You'll be stronger later in the game. And I take scaling magic resist for blues to the fact that you won't be fighting that many people early. As Rek'sai excels at bursting in ganks and farming incredibly fast, it will help you be tanky in the late game. The Masteries. I have 2 different mastery pages for you in this guide. The first one will be specific to the Devourer build, and the second one will be for one of the Warrior or the Cinderhawk variations. So the first one you go with 18-6-6, making sure you pick up sustain and increase damage in the ferocity tree, and then getting the assassination and the movement speed out of the other 2 trees. With the Devourer build, Fervor of Battle is amazing, and that is the reason that for this style, the mastery page is different than your usual Rek'sai page. Now for the second one, the one that is used more often since no one really builds Devourer on Rek'sai but me, this one fits the role of tank more. You get 12-0-18, making sure you get sustain and damage out of the ferocity tree, and then with the 18 points in the resolve tree, you get all the ways of making you more tanky plus giving you more sustain. With the keystone strength of the ages in this tree, getting this mastery will allow you to get a lot more health into your build, making you much tankier. The item build. Now, strap in for this one because I have 3 different item builds for Rek'sai. I'll do my best to go over them quick. Before I start, I will tell you guys that I personally prefer the first one because I'm a fan of the Devourer on Rek'sai. If this is not your style, then just go with any of the other builds, but I felt like I had to include this bit. Anyway, to start off with the first build, you want to get yourself a machete and 3 health potions. The reason I do this is because it will help you sustain a lot more, especially if you're looking to pick a fight quite early on, because health potions will give you a lot more health than a refillable potion will. Now, after your first full clear, you should have enough to upgrade your machete into a Stalker's jungle item whilst getting yourself a refillable potion. Getting the potion at this stage fits perfectly because you won't have to buy any more health potions for the rest of the game. And with 1 full clear, it will leave you with about 150 gold. Now at this stage you want to go for the Devourer enchant. Once you get this item, go and do Dragon to start it off well. After the Devourer, you want to get yourself a pair of ninja tabbies and then start building into a Blade of the Rune King. I get this item because it will offer you a lot of damage when you combine it with the Devourer, plus it offers you a way to stick to people. After Blade, you want to build into a Black Cleaver. The reason you build this now is because it will offer you health, but it will also offer you a lot of damage, as this is the best armor pen item in the game right now. After Cleaver, you want to get a bit more tanky in the form of Deadman's Plate. You get this item over anything else because it also offers you movement speed, so you can catch people easier. And to finish this build off, you want to get yourself a Titanic Hydra. I get this item because it works with the stated Devourer, and you will have built a fair amount of health up until this point, so it will help you deal a lot of damage. Now, for the Warrior build, you want to start off the exact same way you started with the Devourer version, but instead of the Devourer enchant, you get the Warrior one. Then, after Ninja Tabbies, you want to get yourself a Black Cleaver. You get this, again, because it's the best armor pen item in the game, and it also gives you health. Then after that you want to start getting more tanky because you already deal quite a good amount of damage. So you want to get yourself a Deadman's Plate. After Deadman's Plate you want to get yourself a Steric's Gauge. The reason I get this item is because it prevents mages from killing you. It also offers you a lot of health when going into the next item. Your next item will be a Titanic Hydra. This item is just a beast on all variations of Rek'sai these days because you are gonna build her quite tanky. If you are fed with this warrior build, you can also get a Titanic Hydra before you get a Steric's Gauge, but you can decide if that's worth it, because they have a same component. And finally, in this build you want to sell a jungle item for a Maw, to give you a lot of extra magic resist, plus sustain and damage. And then, for the Cinderhawk build, again, same start, but you want to go for the Tracker's Knife with the Cinderhawk instead. The reason I do this when going for Cinderhawk is because you're opting to be more of a tank and supporting your team. And therefore you don't need the Stalker's Smite to catch people with. So you might as well get the extra wards. Now after Ninja Tabbies you want to start building straight tank and go for a Deadman's Plate. After that, build yourself a Steric's Gauge. Again, if you're really fed and you still want to build some damage, switch Steric's into Titanic Hydra around in this build. After that, you want to get yourself a Spirit Visage. This will offer you a lot of sustain plus health and magic resist. Now, I hope I've not been too brief with these variations for the item builds. If you have any questions about them, just ask me in the comments. The jungle strategy. In the background right now, you can see the jungle clear for both sides of the map. Whilst this is playing, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about ganking, team fighting and split pushing. When it comes to ganking, Rek'sai is one of the best with her tunnels. She can move out of pretty much every direction, so it's very hard to ward properly against her if you get creative. And because she is such a great ganker, she instantly becomes a very solid pick in solo queue. When it comes to teamfighting, it just depends on which build you went for. If you went for the Cinderhulk version, then you want to stay back and peel for your carries. If you went for any of the other two, then you want to play a bit more aggressive and try to kill their carries. But when it comes to split pushing, you can only really do this with either Warrior or the Devourer style. If you want to split push as Rek'sai, you should always make sure you have tunnels somewhere on the map so you have ways to get out of sticky situations. It's smart to place them somewhat near objectives so you have a way of getting there fast if you have to. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it or learned anything from it, please do remember to click that like button right below this video, as this helps me get this video out there. If you would like to see more guides like this, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!